Hi lovely people, welcome back to my channel. It's Candy here. I'm going to do my February favourites tonight. I've just got the kids to bed, the house is semi-quiet, so I thought I would do my recap on February, which is a month that seems to have been really long. I thought February seemed to just go on and on and on, and I have to say, I don't know whether it's just me, but February mentally kicked my arse a little bit. I think lockdown has been going on so long now here, as can you hear Tilly upstairs in bed? She's shouting and singing and all sorts. Yeah, it's just as the sole adult in the house with 3 kids, even though my kids are fabulous, it's just a lot. It's a lot for all of us. Not being able to get out with Tilly because Tilly's shielding. Everything's 1,000 times more difficult. What would normally be my sleep time in the day when everybody's at school has gone. So my sleep is very broken. And it's just getting a lot. And there've been a couple of days in February where I really felt it. I know it's not just me, but yeah, it's a lot. So February, it's been up and it's been down, I won't lie about it. But it's also had some lovely moments. Imbolc was at the start of the month, so I had a new altar. I cleared the space up there, which felt wonderful. A friend brought me a beautiful card and some gorgeous candles that just smelt glorious, which I put on the altar, which have been lovely. And the altar this month, I think, has really played an important part in the month. I have meditated virtually every day for at least 30 minutes, and I am loving it. It's been a cozy, warm hug on the days that I've needed it, that quiet time. With rituals at the altar, the more time I'm spending there, the more I'm finding what feels right. So how opening a circle feels right for me, how what I say when I light candles, what order I light the candles in, it's all taking on real importance to me. And I have had some amazing experiences at the altar this month, with messages from deity and messages from the cards. I have been using this deck at the altar a lot, which is the Weaver's Oracle. I say a lot, but I've just got my card that I pulled for the new moon, because I'm pulling a card at new moon. So in January it was copper, and this month it's, you can tell I'm tired, I've totally forgotten. I'll put a picture in now, but I've got I'm on a different card, I'm not with copper anymore. And the messages I've got coming through, sitting, meditating with deity and with this Weaver's Oracle, has made my altar time quite spectacular. And because it's been Imbolc, Bridget has come into play a lot. And of course, the Morrigan, who is the deity that I've always worked with, she brought Bridget in last year. I didn't even know about Bridget. And this month I've read this book, which I am so grateful I read this book. I had a lot of questions about Bridget and why Bridget and why the Morrigan had brought her in, and I was confused about it all. So I've read both of these books this month. You can see this is Morpheus Ravenna's The Book of the Great Queen, which is all about the Morrigan. You can see from the way it's mostly post-its now, this has been spectacular. But so has this, and these 2 books together have answered so many questions that I had. It's been a really fantastic journey through February with these two books. So much so that I am going to start a new series called Dancing with Deity. And I am going to start sharing some of my experiences and book reviews and things like that with my experience with working with deity, because it's probably the most important aspect of my practice. So yeah, I've decided to start a new series, but these two books have been amazing. With Bridget, this book, you can see it's not got post-it notes in, but I did start a reading notebook with it. And you can see I've got loads and loads of notes as I read it. And then, of course, my last video I uploaded was the walk in the woods, where I shared my artwork and experience with Bridget and the Morrigan and the Dagda that I had in the woods this month, which was really spectacular. And it sent me into the art studio to do what I think might be the first artwork towards my very own tarot deck. Now I have ideas for 3 tarot decks at the minute, and I actually have 2 on the go, this piece being the first of one of those decks, because I'd love to do well, I would love to do it, but more importantly, the Morrigan has been pushing me for months now to start drawing a deck for her, so I'm just being led. So I'm completely leaving this up to the Morrigan, but I think there's a Morrigan tarot deck in there. So if you watched the video that I uploaded yesterday, you will already have seen this piece, and this piece was inspired by the walk in the woods with the 3 deities. And it's a combination of textile work and embroidery, paper cutting, and then there's ink work on paper and board as well. So it's a combination of techniques. The circle bit around that central eye is actually drawn onto a vinyl record, and the eye I made with glass painting. So there's lots of different techniques in there. So I was busy in the art studio this month doing that. And other books that I've been reading, I started off the month reading a kids book, A Game of Fox and Squirrels. Now I saw this book recommended on Lisa Pepez's channel. She just finished reading it and she recommended it. It is it's a bit heart-wrenching for a kids book. It's beautifully done, and I think if you have grown up with around toxic people or codependent, or with any sort of manipulation or toxicity around you, this book will strike a chord. There is a underlying theme of understanding manipulation and abuse and freeing yourself from it. A really interesting book that did have me tearing up at times. It's not as light-hearted as it might first appear, and it is very poignant. It's very cleverly done, and I loved it. So I will link Lisa's channel. She does some great book recommendations and she's fabulous. So that was A Game of Fox and Squirrels. The poetry book I read this month, I finished off the Sylvia Plath poems, Ariel. I loved these. I think reading poetry is like a muscle, and the more you read, the easier it becomes. Because I started these in 2020 and I read about a third of the way through, and I was really struggling, and I was trying to study them as well and pulling up study notes for each poem because I was finding them so difficult to read. And a bit with the Audre Lorde poetry last month, I struggled a little bit with some of those as well. So when I decided to finish this book this month, I was kind of thinking, oh gosh, I hope it's not going to be a slog again. But I really enjoyed it, and I don't know what's shifted. just reading them, I think. You kind of get into the groove of reading poetry. So those have been the books that I've read this month. For decks, my deep dive deck of the month was the Tarot of the Spirit, and I did start reading the book, but I just kind of ran out of time. I ran out of time and I ran out of energy this month, which has kind of been the theme of the month. I've had a couple of days in bed because I was so exhausted and fed up with life at times this month. So I haven't quite done as much study on this deck as I wanted, and I didn't start the month with that deck either. I started the month with something a bit lighter, the True Heart Intuitive Tarot by Rachel True, which I still haven't done a walkthrough of, which I need to do. I really love this deck. I really do. I think it's very beautiful. It's unusual and it's diverse, which is lovely. I would like to see more body diversity in it. It's quite a body beautiful book, but look, there's lots of eyeballs in it, which is always good. These are the backs, and it's just really interesting. Oh, this world card, look at that. It's interesting and it's really beautiful. Tilly's up. I can hear her in my bedroom above me. I can hear the floor creaking. I mean, look at these cards. I hope that it is focusing. These cards are so lovely. So yeah, I started off the month using this. Well, didn't intend to, but I did. And because I was reading so much Celtic stuff about the Celtic goddesses, I felt called to also pull out this little oracle deck, which I got last year. Not very expensive. It was secondhand on eBay. The Ancestral Oracle of the Celts. I didn't know I was going to use this, and my mind with decks has just done a complete shift recently. I think I've connected so much with my roots, growing up in the Welsh borders and spending most of my 20s holidaying in Ireland, and just reconnecting with that in me, that this kind of pull to sort of Celtic green decks has really grabbed me. So I started pairing these two decks together, and oh my goodness, I loved them. Hang on, that's the Hanged Man, that goes that way up. I've loved these two decks together. They have really worked nicely. They've sung with each other. They really have. It's been fantastic. So a good part of this month, although I should have been working with Tarot of the Spirit because that's what I'd got planned, I ended up working with these two. I just think they've worked beautifully together. Oh, look at that with the curtain on both. Oh, I love doing this. I love pairing decks and seeing how they speak with each other. I've been meaning to get to VRs. There's another Lisa Papez mention. She did a beautiful February VR called, is it Perfect Partners or Perfect Pairs for Valentine's, which I still haven't got round to. Oh, look at all the yellow in that, which I need to, because it's something I like. Oh my gosh, and those colours, honestly, I love it. Oh my gosh, and this is the Bridget card in this deck, and when I did a reading for Imolc, I used this deck and I did a reading and it was amazing. But I thought, where's Bridget? She's here somewhere. I could feel that Bridget was there somewhere, and the card didn't come out. I didn't even realise that there was a Bridget card in this deck, but I could just feel her, and I thought, where is she? And when I finished the reading and turned the deck over for the underlying energy, there she was. It was amazing. Yeah, so those two decks I've paired and I've really loved them. Still didn't come to this deck. I think I knew what was going to happen. I knew that this deck was going to drag me to the Thoth. I love them both, but it's harder work for me. And so I ended up not going for harder work. I ended up pulling my Animal Wisdom Tarot, which I have hardly used. And I just had a couple of days where I used this and did some spreads with it. Oh, and I loved it. It really made me reconnect with this deck, which again, I mean, the backs are glorious. Again, this deck was just a few pounds. Oops. It's all animals, and it's just fun to use, but it's not flippant with the readings. I've had a couple of quite deep impacting readings with this deck, even though it's quite light-hearted the way it's drawn. I really like it. Oh my gosh, look at that card. Isn't that beautiful? And I've also seen it over on Renee's channel on Meadowlark Mystic. She's paired this with a deck which I don't have, which I'd love. The Numinous Tarot. I think I've said that right. Oh, and they look so lovely together. I will try and track down her video where she's paired the Numinous with this one, and I'll link it down below as well. So that was another fun little deck that I loved playing with this month, the Animal Wisdom Tarot. And then eventually I decided to get my Tarot of the Spirit out. I do love this deck. It is so beautiful to use. It really is. And at first I tried to pair it with the Animal Wisdom at first, but it didn't work at all. I didn't like it. It just didn't, it clammed its mouth shut. It didn't like it at all. So I initially started by working with it alone. And oh, look at it, it's so lovely. And then I started pairing it with the Thoth, a couple of Thoth cards as well to go along with it. And it pairs beautifully with the Thoth. Two of them together work just beautifully. Put it the right way up. That would always help. The right way up. Oh gosh, you can tell I'm tired. Yeah, these have been really nice together. So what I was doing a reading with this, and then say on each line of the reading or a couple of cards pulling some Thoth to go with it to clarify. Although a couple of times I did hear the Thoth swearing at me for just using it as a clarifier card. But that's the Thoth through and through, isn't it? So you can see they do work nicely together. But then I thought, hang on a minute, I bet the Osho Zen will pair with it as well. Oh, and it was such a nice combination. So I was using all three decks then together. I was doing a reading with these two decks, so the Tarot of the Spirit and the Osho Zen, and then pulling Thoth clarifiers as well, and it worked really nicely. These kind of sang with each other as well. I loved it. It was really, really lovely combination. And if I show you, you can see it just pairs really nicely. These three decks together, I loved them. So that's Tarot of the Spirit and Thoth, and then a Osho Zen card as well. And then another deck I want to mention, upstairs on my goddess altar, I have been working with the Crow Tarot, which I love, of course, working with the Morrigan. This is a great deck, and I've been pulling these cards out for messages from the Morrigan and also to inspire poetry as well, which I have been writing, not as much as I planned this month, but again, tiredness and overwhelm. I've been trying to write at least 3 poems a month. I've struggled to even do that. I think I've done 2 this month, and I might have done 1 last month. But, you know, let's not beat ourselves up. I've done other things instead. So I've really enjoyed working with that this month. And then finally for decks, I got an old favourite out, which I love. Again, just needing that green this month. Oh, I've even wanted to paint the house green and teals and blue. But my daughter said, Mum, don't you have enough on and to start painting the house? And so I listened to the wisdom of my 13-year-old. So this deck, I've just done a couple of pulls with this deck, and Tilly's been asking for this one this month for her daily card pull. And it's really lovely. I love this deck. If you are into sort of magical woodlands, which I am, they're gorgeous. You can see the backs are gorgeous as well. So that's been nice to revisit that. I think I'm going to keep that out as well. Of course, this oracle came out for my new moon reading, which is always lovely. This gets used every month at the new moon. And for the full moon, I carried on with my moon painting, which is hopefully going to be another tarot deck. I've got ideas for a moon tarot deck. I am in the middle of doing a Queen of Swords snow moon painting, which isn't finished yet. I was busy doing all the goddess painting, so again I kind of ran out of time. Yeah, so that's been fun to do this month, and I will update you when that painting is finished. Also in the art studio, I have been sewing. That eye that I did in the middle of the goddess painting or mixed media piece, I made another one that I want to turn it. I've got plans for this. It's not finished yet, but it's actually, I've turned it into a ring. It's not quite finished yet. So it fits on as a kind of huge oversized ring, which I absolutely love it, even though I haven't really got the hands for it. But I've joined on these pieces here, which are going to possibly join down onto a cuff. I haven't made my mind up yet, but I do have I do have plans for this. So I've been doing kind of huge mixed media jewellery rings as well. Another really amazing experience in February was with the lovely Manuela from her channel is A Place of Stillness, which I'll link below. Now Manuela she's just lovely, and she contacted me at the start of the month to say that she needed some guinea pigs for her energy healing work that she's setting up. And she said, would I be interested in just giving her some honest feedback and basically being a guinea pig for her? So I said, yeah, that would be great, because I've been really keen on finding out about chakras this year, which I've said before, I've got a big chakra book ready to go, which is planned for this month. So I was really excited. I've never had anything like that before. So she offered me, it was all, I think it was about 2 hours, a 2-hour session via Zoom, where we had a chat, and then she put the energy stones out her end in on the Zoom, and she did a chakra analysis and an energy heal, and then a journeying down to the underworld. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. I cried. It was brilliant. It was really something else. It was just fantastic. But I'll put all Manuela's links down below. If you are interested in any service like that, or accessing any sort of energy healing, I cannot recommend it enough. It was really impacting. And Manuela, look, I found a white horse. She will know what I mean by that, and that's precious. So yeah, it was an experience. It was fantastic. But without doubt, the most special thing about February was my little boy's birthday. So on the 25th, it was my little boy's 11th birthday, so not so little anymore. He is the youngest of my 3 kids. He's my only boy. He is a golden soul. He is just a joy. He is an old soul. He's very wise. We call him the Oracle in the house because he's very, very wise. He's very artistic, and he's very kind. And he's just been a joy for the last 11 years. So we had a birthday, which saw me putting up strip lights in his bedroom and turning it into a gaming room. I've built him a Lego centre up there. He's had loads of Lego. He had light up keyboards for his gaming computer. And he was a happy bunny, and we all had a lovely time. I just can't believe that we're doing a second round of birthdays in lockdown still. Who would have thought last year that the following year I'd be doing it all again in lockdown? Crazy days. But yeah, so it was his birthday. That has to be the highlight of the month. And then for things that I've been watching, not TV, because I forget about TV. YouTube really is the only thing I watch. I've loved watching Eris Elizabeth on her channel. She is a fellow artist, and I've just really loved her channel. And her friend as well, Fairy Sarah. Now the 2 of them have been doing Art Witch lives, which I've loved, catching them late while I've been working in the art studio. They also have a Facebook group, the Art Witch Circle. So I will link both of their channels down below. And also, because I haven't been buying anything because I'm on a debt year, and I still haven't bought anything, I think I am kind of fulfilling my desire to go treasure hunting and charity shopping, because that's the only shopping I like doing anyway, by discovering channels on YouTube that go charity shop hunting or thrifting, however you call it. So I've watched a couple of things on a channel called Crazy Lamp Lady, which is amazing. She goes just around the huge charity shops in America, which we don't have here. We don't have anything that sort of size. And she just shows herself shopping, and then she flips it all for profit. But I've just been, it's almost like I've been pretend shopping, and everything she picks up that's worth anything, I would never pick up. I always like the tacky stuff behind the stuff she's picking up, and I think, oh, look at that, I would have picked up that, and I would have picked up this. So I'm kind of fantasy shopping. But the thing that I've really, really loved watching this month is a channel called Curiosity Incorporated, which is a guy with his family and his kids with a sort of curiosity shop in America. And he buys like hoarders' houses, and he has to empty them all, and he goes through the process of emptying the houses and then just basically seeing if there's any treasures in there. And his series called The Musician's House was such an addictive watch. I'm going to link the playlist. He just seems like a genuinely lovely guy. but it was absolutely fascinating and so touching and really sad at times. You find out about the person whose house it was and how they got to a point where they were hoarding, and it's done so respectfully, but also the finding of the treasures, just, it taps into something in me that I love. So it was just fascinating to watch, and then all the things he found going to auction. Oh my gosh, it was just completely amazing to watch. So I've loved that channel this month. I've really loved it. And that's it, guys. That's February done. Lots of decks, lots of study with goddesses, lots of time in the art studio, a couple of days in bed with blankets over my head thinking I can't do this anymore. Thank God my kids have all got a sense of humour. Amazing energy healing experiences, beautiful comments from you guys, and I've had some beautiful emails. You know who you are. I've had some beautiful comments and messages. Yeah, thank you guys. You, at times this month, you guys have kept me going when I've got really overtired. So heartfelt thank yous for that. You are a good bunch on here, I have to say. And a month of an 11-year-old's birthday who has a soul of gold. He really does. So yeah, it's been a up and down month, but overall I think looking back and analysing it, it's been a good month. I hope yours has too. Stay safe. If, like me, everything's getting to you, hang on in there. You are not alone. There's so many of us now who've really had enough, and that have been really put through it. So hang on in there. Know you're not alone. And thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye.